The rumors about Julian Navarro were a wildfire, scorching every corner of Willow Creek College before I even set foot on campus. They said he was a charmer, a liar, a heartbreaker who left a trail of shattered promises and whispered secrets. I dropped out after one semester because I couldn't stand the way his name clung to every conversation, like smoke I couldn't escape. I'm Ezra Caldwell, and I never meant to get tangled up in his story. I came to Willow Creek, a small liberal arts school in coastal Maine, chasing a dream of studying literature, of losing myself in books and quiet nights. But Julian's shadow was everywhere, his name scrawled on bathroom stalls, his laughter echoing in the quad, his sharp hazel eyes catching mine across lecture halls. He was a senior, a campus legend, and the rumors painted him as dangerous, a guy who'd seduce you with a smile, then vanish before you could catch your breath. They said he was gay, or maybe bi, or maybe just playing games to mess with people's heads. No one knew for sure, but everyone had a story. I didn't want to be another one. So I packed my bags, left my scholarship behind, and swore I'd never look back. 2 years later, I'm standing outside a boutique wine shop in Portland, Maine, my breath fogging in the crisp October air. I'm 21 now, working odd jobs, trying to piece together a life without a degree. The shop's neon sign buzzes above me, casting a red glow on the wet pavement. I'm here to pick up a bottle for my sister's engagement party, a last-minute errand I couldn't dodge. I push open the door, the bell jingling, and freeze. There he is, Julian Navarro, leaning against the counter, a bottle of Merlot in one hand, his dark curls falling into those same hazel eyes I tried so hard to forget. Ezra. His voice is smooth like velvet, but there's a crack in it, like he's as shocked as I am. He's older now, sharper around the edges, his jawline dusted with stubble. He's wearing a tailored black coat that makes him look like he stepped out of a noir film, and I hate how my heart lurches at the sight of him. Julian, I manage my throat dry. I want to turn and run, but my feet are glued to the hardwood floor. The shop smells of oak and fermented grapes, and the dim lighting makes his eyes glint like he's hiding something. He steps closer, and I notice the faintest scar above his left eyebrow, new since college. I wonder what kind of trouble he's been in. Didn't expect to see you here, he says, his lips curling into a half-smile that's equal parts charm and danger. Thought you disappeared for good. I did. I snap, sharper than I mean to. Thanks to you. His smile falters, and for a moment, something raw flickers across his face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. Ezra, don't. I cut him off, my voice low. I don't want to hear it. But I do, and that's the problem. I've spent 2 years trying to erase him, but one look, and I'm back in that lecture hall, his gaze pinning me in place. I grab a random bottle of Cabernet from the shelf, desperate to escape, but he steps in front of me, blocking my path. Let me make it up to you, he says, his voice softer now, almost pleading. Just come downstairs. I've got something to show you. I should say no. Every instinct screams it. But there's something in his eyes, a vulnerability I've never seen before, and against my better judgment, I nod. He leads me through a narrow door behind the counter, down a creaking wooden staircase into the shop's wine cellar. The air is cool and damp, the walls lined with racks of bottles that gleam faintly in the low light. The door clicks shut behind us, and my pulse spikes. I'm alone with Julian Navarro, the guy who ruined my life without ever speaking a word to me. He turns to face me, his expression unreadable. I owe you an explanation, he says, setting the Merlot bottle on a wooden crate. About the rumors. About everything. I cross my arms, trying to keep my guard up. Why now? Why me? Because, he says, stepping closer, close enough that I can smell the cedarwood cologne on his skin, you're the only one who ever looked at me like I was more than the stories. My breath catches. I want to laugh it off, to call him out for the smooth-talking bullshit everyone warned me about. But his eyes are steady, and for the first time, I wonder if the rumors got it wrong. I lean against the cold stone wall, the bottle still clutched in my hand like a lifeline. Start talking, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Julian exhales, running a hand through his curls. It started in my freshman year, he begins. I was figuring myself out. Who I was, who I loved. I wasn't exactly subtle about it. He laughs, but it's bitter. Willow Creek's a small school. People talk. One bad breakup, one stupid mistake, and suddenly I'm the villain in everyone's story. I frown, trying to piece it together. So what? You're saying it was all lies? Not all of it, he admits, his gaze dropping to the floor. I hurt people, not on purpose, but I was reckless. I didn't know how to handle being me. He looks up, and there's a weight in his eyes that makes my chest ache. But I never meant for it to touch you, Ezra. I didn't even know you were listening. I swallow hard, the anger I've carried for years starting to crack. You didn't know me, I say, but I knew you, or I thought I did. Everyone said you were trouble, and I trail off, not wanting to admit how much those rumors shaped me, how they made me run. I'm sorry, he says, and it's so quiet I almost miss it. He steps closer, and I don't move away. I saw you, in class. You were always scribbling in that journal, looking like you were carrying the weight of the world. I wanted to talk to you, but I was too caught up in my own mess. I don't know what to say. Part of me wants to believe him, but part of me is still that scared freshman, terrified of being another name in his story. Before I can respond, there's a loud click and the cellar door rattles. I spin around, my heart racing. The door won't budge. We're locked in. Shit, Julian mutters, trying to handle. It doesn't move. He bangs on the door, calling out, but the shop above is silent. The owner must have closed up early. I stare at him, panic rising. You're telling me we're stuck down here? He nods, his jaw tight. Looks like it. I slide down the wall, sitting on the cold floor, the bottle of Cabernet still in my hand. Julian sits across from me, his knees pulled up, his eyes searching mine. The cellar feels smaller now, the air thick with everything unsaid. I don't know if I'm trapped with my enemy or something else entirely, but one thing's clear. There's no running from Julian Navarro this time. The wine cellar feels like a confessional, the kind of place where secrets spill out whether you want them to or not. The air is heavy with the scent of oak and earth, and a single bulb overhead casts long shadows that dance across Julian's face. He's sitting cross-legged now, his back against a rack of bottles, watching me like he's trying to read a book in a language he doesn't quite understand. I clutch the Cabernet bottle tighter, its weight grounding me. So what now? I ask, my voice sharper than I mean it to be. We just sit here until someone realizes we're missing? Julian shrugs, but there's a tension in his shoulders that betrays his calm. The owner will be back in the morning. We got time. He pauses, then adds, unless you've got somewhere better to be. I scoff, but it's hollow. Truth is, I don't. My life since dropping out has been a string of dead-end jobs. Barista, delivery driver, bookstore clerk. Each one a reminder of the future I threw away. I don't say that, though. Instead, I fire back. What about you? What's the great Julian Navarro doing in a wine shop in Portland? He flinches at the edge of my voice, but his lips quirk into a small smile. I work here, he says simply. Part-time. The owner's my uncle. I'm figuring things out. I raise an eyebrow. Figuring things out? You? Mr. Campus Legend. He laughs, but it's not the confident chuckle I remember from college. It's quieter, almost self-deprecating. Yeah, well, legends don't pay the bills. I graduated, but the real world's not exactly what I expected. He leans forward, his elbows on his knees. What about you, Ezra? Why'd you really leave Willow Creek? I tense, my fingers tightening around the bottle. I told you. The rumors. Bullshit, he says, not unkindly. You don't strike me as the type to run from gossip. There's more to it. I want to snap at him, to tell him he doesn't know me, but the truth is clawing its way up my throat. I look away, staring at the rows of bottles, their labels a blur of French and Italian names. I was scared. I admit finally, my voice barely audible. Not just of you, but of everything. The rumors about you were loud, but they weren't the only ones. People talked about me, too. The quiet kid from the Midwest, always scribbling in his journal, probably hiding something. I didn't fit in, and you were this larger-than-life thing I couldn't deal with. Julian's quiet for a long moment. and when he speaks, his voice is soft. "I'm sorry," he says again, and this time it feels like he means it. "I didn't know you were getting hit like that." I shrug, trying to play it off, but my chest feels tight. "It's fine. I survived." "Barely," he says, and there's a teasing lilt to his voice that makes me look at him. His eyes are warm, almost playful, and for a second, I see the guy he might have been before the rumors turned him into a myth. "You look like you're one bad day away from joining a monastery." I snort despite myself, says the guy working in his uncle's wine shop. "Touché." He grins, and it's disarming, like a crack of sunlight through a storm. He shifts, pulling a small pocket knife from his coat and flipping it open. For a moment, my heart skips, but he just grabs a bottle from the rack, a Pinot Noir, and starts working the cork out. "Might as well make the most of being stuck here," he says, popping the cork with a soft thud. He takes a swig straight from the bottle, then offers it to me. I hesitate, then take it, the glass cool against my palm. The wine is sharp and rich, warming my throat as I swallow. "Your uncle's gonna kill you for this," I say, handing it back. "Worth it," he replies, taking another sip. "Besides, he's got hundreds of these. One won't hurt." We pass the bottle back and forth, the silence between us softening with each sip. The cellar feels less like a trap now, more like a bubble outside the world. I don't know if it's the wine or the way Julian's looking at me, but I feel bolder, like I can ask the question that's been burning since I saw him. "So, the rumors," I say, leaning forward. "Which ones were true?" He raises an eyebrow, his lips twitching. "You really want to go there? I'm locked in a cellar with you. Humor me." He sighs, setting the bottle down. "Okay, the part about me being a mess? True. I was figuring out I liked guys, and I wasn't exactly graceful about it. I dated a few people, broke a few hearts. Not proud of it, but it happened. The part about me being some master manipulator? Total fiction. I was just young and stupid." I nod, processing. "And now," he leans back, his eyes searching mine. "Now I'm trying to be better. I'm out. I'm honest, and I'm done running from who I am. What about you, Ezra? You ever figure out who you are?" The question hits like a punch. I've spent so long running from Willow Creek, from the rumors, from myself, that I don't know how to answer. "I'm working on it," I say finally, my voice rough. He smiles, soft and a little sad. "Good. You deserve that." The bulb flickers above us, and for a moment, the cellar feels too small, too intimate. I can hear his breathing, steady and close, and my pulse is loud in my ears. I don't know what's happening, but I know one thing. Julian Navarro isn't the villain I thought he was. And that scares me more than any rumor ever could. The wine is hitting me now, a warm buzz that loosens my tongue and blurs the edges of my caution. Julian sprawled out on the cellar floor, one arm behind his head, the Pinot Noir bottle resting between us like a silent mediator. The air feels charged, like the moment before a storm breaks, and I'm hyper-aware of every move he makes. The way his fingers trace the rim of the bottle, the way his eyes flicker to mine and then away, like he's afraid of what he might see. "So," I say, breaking the silence, "you're out now." That's brave. I mean it, but the words feel clumsy, like I'm tiptoeing around something fragile. Julian shrugs, but there's a tightness in his jaw. Didn't feel brave. Felt like I didn't have a choice. After all the rumors, I figured I might as well own it. He takes a sip, then hands me the bottle. "What about you? You ever, figure that part out?" I freeze, the bottle halfway to my lips. The question hangs in the air, heavy and unavoidable. I've spent years dodging it, burying it under late-night study sessions and minimum-wage jobs. Back at Willow Creek, I told myself I was too busy to date, too focused to care. But the truth is, I was terrified. Terrified of the whispers, of the way people looked at me when I lingered too long on a guy's smile. Terrified of being like Julian. "I don't know," I say finally, my voice barely above a whisper. I never really let myself think about it. He nods, like he gets it, and I hate how much that comforts me. "It's okay not to know," he says. "But it's not okay to hide from it forever." I take a long swig of the wine, letting it burn my throat. Easy for you to say. You're you. You walk into a room, and everyone notices. I'm just the guy in the background, trying not to get noticed. He laughs, sharp and sudden. You think I don't see you? Ezra, you're not invisible. You never were. His voice softens, and he leans forward, his eyes locking onto mine. I noticed you. Back at school. The way you'd bite your lip when you were thinking, the way you'd scribble in that journal like it was the only thing keeping you grounded. I wanted to know you, but I was too much of a coward to try. My heart stutters. I want to call him a liar, to say he's just spinning another story, but there's no deception in his eyes. Just raw, unguarded honesty. I set the bottle down, my hands shaking. Why are you telling me this now? Because we're stuck in a fucking wine cellar, he says with a wry smile, and I'm tired of pretending I don't care. I don't know how to respond. My head's spinning, and it's not just the wine. I've spent so long hating him, blaming him, and now he's sitting here, peeling back layers I didn't know he had. I stand up, needing to move, needing to break the spell he's casting. I pace the small space, the cold stone floor grounding me. This doesn't change anything, I say, more to myself than to him. You're still the reason I left. Am I? He challenges, standing too. He's closer now, close enough that I can see the flecks of gold in his hazel eyes. Or did you leave because you were scared of what you felt? Because I felt it too, Ezra. Every time you looked at me, I stopped pacing, my breath catching. He's too close, and the cellar feels like it's shrinking around us. You don't know what I felt, I say, but my voice wavers. Then tell me, he says, his voice low, urgent. Tell me I'm wrong. I open my mouth, but the words won't come. Because he's not wrong. I felt it, the pull, the heat, the way my skin burned every time he was near. I hated him for it, hated myself for it. And now, standing here, with nowhere to run, I can't deny it anymore. Before I can say anything, there's a loud thud from upstairs. We both freeze, our eyes darting to the door. Footsteps echo, heavy and deliberate, followed by the jangle of keys. My heart races, relief, but also something else. Disappointment. The door swings open, and a burly man with a gray beard stands there, looking annoyed. Julian, what the hell are you doing down here? He barks. Shop's been closed for an hour. Julian grins, all charm again. Sorry, Uncle Ray. Got locked in with a friend. Ray's eyes narrow as he looks at me, then back at Julian. Get your asses upstairs, and you're paying for that bottle. We climb the stairs, the spell of the cellar breaking with each step. But as we emerge into the shop's harsh fluorescent light, Julian brushes his hand against mine, just for a second. It's enough to send a jolt through me, enough to make me wonder what happens next. The night air hits like a slap as we step out of the wine shop, the neon sign still buzzing above us. Julian's uncle locks the door behind us, muttering about irresponsible kids, and I clutch the Cabernet bottle I came for, feeling like I'm holding on to more than just wine. Julian's standing too close, his shoulder brushing mine, and I can't shake the weight of everything he said in the cellar. My heart's still racing, caught between wanting to run and wanting to stay. Where you headed now? Julian asks, his voice casual, but his eyes sharp, like he's testing me. Home, I say too quickly. My sister's expecting this. I hold up the bottle, a flimsy excuse. He nods, but there's a flicker of disappointment in his expression. Right? Well, if you're ever around, you know where to find me. He jerks his thumb toward the shop, then hesitates. Or, you could give me your number. I laugh, a nervous bark that betrays me. You're serious? Dead serious. He pulls out his phone, his fingers hovering over the screen. Unless you're still running from me. I should say no. I should walk away, go back to my safe, lonely life. But something in me, maybe the wine, maybe the way his voice cracked when he apologized, makes me rattle off my number. He types it in, his lips curving into a smile that's equal parts triumph and relief. See you around, Ezra, he says, pocketing his phone. He turns and walks down the street, his coat flapping in the wind, and I'm left standing there, wondering what the hell just happened. The next few days are a blur. I deliver the wine to my sister, endure her engagement party with its endless toasts and forced smiles, and try to ignore the way my phone feels like a live wire in my pocket. Julian texts me the next morning. A simple, "Hey, you make it home okay?" And I stare at it for an hour before replying. We start texting back and forth, small things at first, a joke about the wine, a question about my day. But it's never just small with him. Every message feels like a step towards something bigger, something I'm not sure I'm ready for. A week later, he asked me to meet him at a coffee shop downtown. I almost say no, but my curiosity, or maybe something deeper, wins out. The place is cozy, all exposed brick and warm lights, and Julian's already there, sitting in a corner booth with 2 steaming mugs. He's wearing a gray sweater that makes his eyes look greener, and I hate how much I notice. "You came," he says, sliding a mug toward me. "I wasn't sure you would." Neither was I admit, sitting across from him. The coffee smells like hazelnut, and I wrap my hand around the mug, letting the warmth steady me. "What is this, Julian? What are we doing?" He leans back, studying me. We're talking, getting to know each other. No rumors, no bullshit, just us. I want to believe it's that simple, but nothing about him feels simple. And what happens when people start talking again? You're not exactly low profile. He winces, but he doesn't look away. Let them talk. I'm done caring. The question is, are you? I don't have an answer. We talk for hours about everything and nothing. Books, music, the way Willow Creek felt like a pressure cooker. He tells me about his family, how his uncle took him in after a rough patch with his parents, how he's been trying to rebuild since graduating. I tell him about my sister, about the journal I still carry, about the dreams I let slip away. It's easy, too easy, and that scares me. When we leave the coffee shop, it's dark outside, the streets slick with rain. He walks me to my bus stop, and we stand under the shelter, the rain drumming above us. "You're different than I thought," he says, his voice low. "Better." I swallow, my throat tight. "You're not what I thought either." He steps closer, and for a moment, I think he's going to kiss me. My pulse races, my body screaming yes and no at the same time. But he just smiles, tucks a strand of wet hair behind my ear, and says, "See you soon, Zra." The bus comes, and I climb on, my heart pounding. I don't know what this is, but I know I'm in deep, and there's no going back. It's been 3 weeks since the coffee shop, and Julian's become a constant in my life, like a song I can't stop humming. We meet up every few days, sometimes at the wine shop, sometimes at a diner, once at a park where we sat on a bench and watched the leaves fall. Each time, I tell myself it's just friendship, just 2 people figuring each other out. But every glance, every brush of his hand, feels like a spark waiting to ignite. Tonight, he's invited me to his apartment for dinner. I'm nervous, my palms sweaty as I climb the stairs to his 3rd-floor walk-up in a quiet part of Portland. The building's old with peeling paint and a creaky elevator, but when he opens the door, his place is warm and lived in. Books stacked on every surface, a guitar leaning against the couch, a faint smell of garlic and basil in the air. "You cook?" I ask, raising an eyebrow as I step inside. "Don't sound so shocked," he says, grinning. He's wearing an apron over a black t-shirt, and there's a smudge of flour on his cheek that makes him look younger, softer. "Pasta from scratch. Hope you're hungry." We eat at a small table by the window, the city lights twinkling outside. The food's good, better than I expected, and the conversation flows easily, like it always does with him. But there's an undercurrent tonight, a tension that's been building since the cellar. When we finish, he pours us each a glass of wine, not stolen this time, and we move to the couch. "You ever think about going back?" he asks, swirling his glass. "To school, I mean." I sigh, leaning back. "Sometimes, but it's not that simple. I'd have to start over, and I don't know if I'm brave enough." "You are," he says, his voice firm. "You're braver than you think, Ezra." I look at him, and something in his eyes makes my chest tighten. "Why do you care so much?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. He sets his glass down, leaning closer. "Because I see you. Not the kid who ran, not the guy who's been hiding. I see you, and I like what I see. My breath catches. He's so close now, his knee brushing mine, his eyes searching my face. I want to pull away to protect myself, but I'm tired of running. I lean in, just a fraction, and that's all it takes. His lips meet mine, soft at first, then hungry like he's been holding back as long as I have. The kiss is electric, every nerve in my body waking up. I'm kissing him back, my hands in his hair, his breath warm against my skin. We pull apart, both of us breathing hard. Ezra, he says, his voice rough, if you want me to stop. Don't, I say, and I mean it. We kiss again, slower this time, and it feels like coming home. But even as I lose myself in him, a small voice in the back of my mind whispers a warning. This is Julian Navarro, the guy who broke hearts, the guy who ruined me. Later, as we lie tangled on the couch, his arm around me, I ask the question I've been avoiding. What happens now? He's quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing circles on my shoulder. We figure out, together. I want to believe him, but the fear is still there, sharp and cold. I've fallen for him, hard and fast, and I know what happens when you fall for someone like Julian. But for now, I let myself sink into the warmth of his arms, pretending the world outside doesn't exist. The next morning, I wake up in Julian's bed, his arm draped over me, his breath steady against my neck. The night before feels like a dream, but the ache in my chest is real. I slip out of bed, careful not to wake him, and stand by the window, watching the dawn break over Portland. The city's waking up, but I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something, waiting for it to collapse. Julian stirs, blinking sleepily at me. Morning, he says, his voice rough with sleep. You okay? I nod, but I'm not sure I am. Last night was everything I wanted, but now, in the cold light of day, the doubts are creeping in. What are we doing, Julian? I ask, turn to face him. This us. Is it real? He sits up, the sheets pooling around his waist. It's real for me, he says, his eyes steady. Is it real for you? I want to say yes, but the words stick. Instead, I say I need time. He nods, but I can see the hurt in his eyes. Take all the time you need, he says. I'm not going anywhere, but life has other plans. That afternoon, I get a text from an old classmate, Mia, who's still at Willow Creek. Heard you're back in touch with Julian Navarro. Be careful. He's got a new scandal brewing. Attached is a screenshot of a campus gossip blog, accusing Julian of cheating on his last boyfriend with a professor. My stomach drops. I tell myself it's just rumors, just like before, but the seed of doubt is planted. I confront Julian that evening at the wine shop. He's restocking shelves, his movements tense, like he knows something's wrong. What's this? I ask, shoving my phone in his face. He reads the screenshot, his jaw tightening. It's not true, he says, his voice low. Ezra, you know how this works. People make shit up. Do they? I snap, my voice shaking, because I don't know what to believe anymore. He steps closer, his eyes pleading. Believe me, I'm not that guy anymore. I haven't been for a long time. I want to believe him, but the fear is choking me. I turn and leave, ignoring his calls after me. For the next few days, I ghost him, my phone lighting up with his texts, his voicemails, his pleas to talk. I throw myself into work, into anything to keep my mind off him, but he's everywhere, in my dreams, in the pages of my journal, in the ache I can't shake. Then, one night, I get a call from an unknown number. It's Ray, Julian's uncle. He's a mess kid, he says gruffly. Locked himself in the cellar again, won't come out. You need to talk to him. I don't want to go, but I do. When I get to the wine shop, Ray lets me in, pointing to the cellar door. Fix this, he says, and I nod, my heart in my throat. I find Julian sitting on the floor, a bottle of wine in his hand, his eyes red-rimmed. You came? He says, his voice breaking. I didn't want to, I admit, sitting across from him. But I'm here. He looks at me, and for the first time, I see him. Not the legend, not the rumors, just Julian. Broken and human and trying so hard to be better. I didn't cheat, he says. I swear. It's just more lies, Ezra. I'm so tired of fighting them. I believe him. Maybe it's stupid, maybe it's reckless, but I do. I reach for his hand, and he holds on like I'm his lifeline. I'm scared, I say, my voice trembling. But I don't want to run anymore. He pulls me into his arms, and we sit there in the dark of the cellar, holding onto each other like the world might break us apart. The cellar feels different this time, less like a trap and more like a sanctuary. Julian's arms are warm around me, his heartbeat steady against my chest. We don't speak for a long time, just sit there breathing in the quiet. The world outside, the rumors, the doubts, the fear, feels far away, like it can't touch us here. I'm sorry, I say finally, pulling back to look at him, for doubting you, for running. He shakes his head, his thumb brushing my cheek. You had every reason to. I got a past, Ezra. I can't change that, but I can promise you this. I'm all in. For you. My heart swells, and for the first time, I let myself believe it. I'm in too, I say, and the words feel like a weight lifting. We kiss soft and slow, and it's not just a kiss, it's a promise of beginning. The next few weeks are a whirlwind. We spend every spare moment together, learning each other's rhythms, each other's scars. Julian helps me apply to a community college, promising to cheer me on when I start classes again. I help him at the wine shop, learning the difference between a Merlot and a Malbec, laughing when he teases me for my terrible taste in wine. It's not perfect. There's still whispers, still moments when I catch myself waiting for the other shoe to drop. But it's real, and it's ours. One night, we're back in the cellar, restocking bottles for his uncle. The air is cool, the shelves gleaming with new inventory. Julian turns to me, a mischievous glint in his eye. You know, he says, this place isn't so bad. I laugh, shaking my head. You're insane. We were trapped here. Yeah, he says, stepping closer, but it got us here. He pulls me into his arms, and I don't resist. The cellar, the rumors, the past, it all led to this moment, to us. As we climb the stairs, hand in hand, I realize the rumors don't matter anymore. They're just noise, fading into the background. What matters is this: Julian, me, and the life we're building, one moment at a time.